In this demonstration, we're going to look at using the command line tools to access the BCD store. The BCD store, or the Boot Configuration Data Store, is an extensible database of objects and elements that include information about the current hibernation image, special config options for starting Windows 10, or an alternate operating system. And the BCD store provides an improved mechanism for describing boot configuration data for new firmware models. During startup, the boot sector will load Boot Manager, which in turn will access the BCD store, and then it uses that information to display a startup menu to the user if multiple boot operations exist, and then to load the operating system. These parameters were previously in the boot.ini file, which is a BIOS file operating system, or in the non-volatile random access memory, or NVRAM entries in operating systems based off the extensible firmware interface. All I'm going to do at this point here is I'm just going to click my Start button. I'm going to come into my settings, and within my settings what I want to do is I just want to come down to my Update and Security. In my Update and Security, what we're going to do is we're going to come to our Recovery tab, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to restart this computer, and we're going to restart this computer in Advanced Startup because we need to access a command prompt so that we can actually have a look at the BCD config. So we'll start it now. It's going to take just a couple of minutes for this to restart. So at this point here, we'll just go for our troubleshoot options. And in our troubleshoot options, we're just going to come to advanced options. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come to command prompt. Then what's going to happen is it's going to reboot the device, and the device will then boot up in command prompt. We'll have to log in. We can then start issuing commands. So what we're going to do at this point here, command prompt, we're going to log in as admin. It'll prompt us for a password. So we'll put in our password. And we'll click continue. Now what this is going to do is just checking the password, checking the admin user account. As we can see, we're now in command prompt. What we'll do is we'll just make the font a bit bigger. And then what we can start doing is we can now start issuing some commands. So the first thing I want to do is I want to list all of the available boot options in the BCD store. And to do that, we're going to use the BCD edit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a /enum, so enumerate. And then what we can see at this point here, if we have a look down, you can see we've got our Windows Boot Manager. It's not mentioning anything in the description apart from it's a boot manager. But if we have a look down here, we do have a Windows 10 operating system. We can see the winload.exe file for that Windows 10 operating system. So now what we'll do is we'll now do a scan of the partitions for any viable operating systems. And to do that, we use our bootrec command, and we use that with a /scanOS. So it's scanning all the partitions now. So as it says here, please wait, since this may take a while. So what we'll do at this point is we'll just pause the presentation, return back when we get the list. So let's return back. I mean, it's saying there's no Windows installations. We know there's one in there, but there's no additional ones in there. So the next thing we'll do is we'll just do a boot rec. What we'll do is we'll then do a rebuild of the BCD, because we suspect we may have a problem with this. So as you can see, again, this may take a while. So again, we'll just pause the presentation and return back once the build is complete. So went through quicker than I thought it would, but it successfully scanned the Windows installations. And at this point here, it's completed successfully. So now all we'll do is just do an exit. And now what we'll do is we'll continue onto our Windows 10 operating system. And what we should find is the Windows 10 operating system then boots up. And as we can see, Windows operating system is back up and running. We'll just log in just to verify that. And at this point here, we have now repaired our BCD store. That's the end of this demonstration. Thank you.